So we're at the Picasso and the Avant-Garde in Paris exhibition at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And we're standing in front of two prints that are very well known. They're Picasso's Dream and Lie of Franco. And they have a kind of comic strip quality. The first one was made in January of 1937, the second in June of 1937. And as I'll explain in a minute, that discrepancy in date is very important. Picasso was horrified by the Spanish Civil War. Here you have a democratically elected Republican government that's overthrown by a fascist dictator, General Francisco Franco, who begins in July 1936 this military coup that leads to a very bloody civil war. And Picasso was definitely on the side of Republicans. He wanted to help them. And he believed that by making this print series, he could raise a lot of money to send in support of not only the Republican forces, but also to help the children of Madrid and Barcelona and all those cities that were currently besieged. So what he did was he made them in an edition of 850. So you put 2 and 2 together and you get 1,700. Our edition is 463. Now what Picasso wanted you to do was to cut each comic strip up and sell them individually. So in other words, what he did, he created more than 30,000 prints that were intended to be sold. Everyone wants to own a Picasso, so you sell this image to your friend and you give the money to support the Republican cause. Not everyone did that, of course. The donor who gave these prints didn't do that. But a lot of people did. And people have tried to estimate how much money Picasso did raise for the Republican cause, and some figures put it as high as 500,000 French francs, which is an extraordinary figure. Now, the quality that I'd like to point out in these prints is that he considers Franco a figure of fun. He calls him a turd, and he gives him this wonderful quality here of someone who's just ridiculous. He's a puffed up military dictator, and Picasso is deliberately here looking at Goya's kind of military processions, and also the writings of Alfred Jarry, the great satirical writer who invented this figure, King Ubu. There is an Ubu-esque quality to this. In the second print, however, something has changed, and that something is the bombing of Guernica. Guernica was a Basque town. It was absolutely nothing to do with the war. It had no military purpose. And yet, on Franco's bidding, German Nazi warplanes bombed this civilian population and obliterated the town. And so you have these weeping women that come into the frame here. And it's almost like this up the ante for Picasso. If he was a politically engaged artist before, he's even more so now. And this would lead to the great Guernica mural that he would finish that year in 1937.